You're listening to Chillworthy,
a podcast where two best friends discuss mysteries, murders, and anything in between for your enjoyment.
So if you're ready to hear some chilling and unsettling cases, you're in the right place. Happy listening. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chillworthy with Brent and Talia.
Hi everybody.
How you doing today?
I'm doing very well.
I thought so.
How about you?
Peachy keen.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame that phrase went out of style.
I agree. I think
like
it's adorable. Makes me want... Well, probably makes you sad about peaches, but
it does make me sad about peaches, except I don't think I'm actually allergic to them.
You've said.
Right.
Right.
For the chillers, I think I was allergic. I thought I was allergic at one point, but I think it was actually whatever was sprayed on the peach. But now I've sworn off peaches for the rest of my life, even though I went to the allergist and they did a pinprick of peach, and I'm not allergic. But
say that 3 times fast.
Pinprick
of peach. Pinprick of peach. See, I can't.
I shan't be doing it. So
nah.
We're doing back-to-back episodes, so that means no new books.
No.
You know, nothing crazy. However, dare I ask, is there anything you'd like to say that you're happy about?
Absolutely.
You want to share it?
Yeah. I think I'll say that I'm very grateful to have memories from like childhood. Like I'm grateful we lived somewhere that we could access water. Like wild water specifically.
I see.
In all forms. Not all forms, but in several forms. And I'm grateful for that. I think that does something to a childhood. And I'm grateful.
I don't even know where to go from that. What to say.
That's fine. Don't feel pressured to.
I'm very thrown off by that.
Well, what's yours?
I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying.
Take your time.
So, I think one of the things that I love, am grateful for, are, and just stick with me here.
All right.
As I explain it, but DVDs.
Okay.
Okay, because we now live in a world where people are far too dependent on streaming services, right?
Yes.
And you can't rely on those bastards.
Well, and
you can't.
They offer
I
to
shan't.
then what's getting ripped from
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Held hostage we are. I was going to say we're pirates now, but I guess the pirates are the ones holding people hostage. Continue.
So, for me, as you've seen, I have a very big book of DVDs.
Heck yeah.
Movies and some shows, but the shows kind of are in a drawer.
Right.
But
shelf.
I think of DVDs as little pocket worlds, little mini pocket worlds.
Polly Pickett. You
can visit anytime you want.
Yes.
And without having those DVDs, you can't always get to your little pocket world. So, you want to have a feel-good movie and you want to watch Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, hell yeah,
right?
man.
Like, let's get real here. Where the hell are we supposed to find Mrs. Doubtfire on such short notice on a streaming service that we don't have to buy a new one to get? Like, hey, watch Stars and we'll let you see this 25-year-old movie, 40-year-old movie, no.
Oh, God, that's sad. Yeah, you're right.
But I don't have to do that because I've got my pocket world, Mrs. Doubtfire, where I can slip into that world anytime I want.
Good for you,
have
man.
a nice time.
Right.
So, Fern Gully.
Oh.
Brrr, there, we're in it.
Absolutely. You're not, I was going to say held hostage, but held hostage.
We're not held hostage.
No, at their mercy, I was going to say.
Yes, you're not at their mercy.
Well, you're not.
The Golden Girls,
I think about that all
they
the
cut
time.
the Golden Girls up all the time.
They threaten it.
No, but I mean even on Hallmark or something.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like I was watching it at the beach, and I wasn't watching it on like a DVD or anything. It was just on the TV. And there are lines that are gone because they want to fit it into the commercial breaks.
Or
that.
The commercial starts talking over literally one of the scenes. It's terribly done. They don't care.
Classless.
No respect. Exactly.
No, they don't have any respect for it. None.
No.
So that's what I like. I like
you.
those DVDs. I enjoy having them. I have a tiny little DVD player. That's all I need.
Hang on to it because I feel like they're getting to
Right,
be
that's what I
obsolete.
mean. Pretty soon they'll be like vintage on eBay or something. But
Absolutely.
I have it, and if I need it, I shall use it.
Yeah.
So, all right, 5 minutes in.
Not
How
bad.
refreshing.
Not bad.
All right, so today it's my turn.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody recovered from that Friday the 13th episode.
It was spooky.
I thought you were going to say special.
It was.
It was special.
Yeah.
So today we're going to go back to basics.
Okay. I love
Back
the
to basics.
Good.
So this is a case that I have seen over and over and over again ever since we started the podcast, but I never did it. Mm-hmm. But it's so damn popular, so we're doing it today.
You think I've heard of it?
I'm not saying, well, maybe you came across it, but like, I'm just saying whenever I look up cases, like if I'm like looking up chilling cases, scary disappearances, this case always comes up, but I just never dig into it.
Okay.
And this time I did.
All right.
So, all right.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair's fair.
All right. So today's case is the disappearance of Maura Murray.
Never heard of her.
All right. So a little bit of background on her. So Maura Murray, Murray.
Okay.
She was a 21-year-old nursing student. So she had a very nice personality, bright, bubbly. She was athletic. She was raised in an Irish Catholic family in Hanson, Massachusetts, and she was the fourth of 5 siblings. I guess in high school she was a star track runner. She's a runner, she's a track star, or whatever.
What's that
I don't know, I
from?
think it's a song.
Huh.
I could be wrong. So she entered West Point.
Wow.
Did she? Yes. She entered West Point to study chemical engineering.
All of this is extremely impressive.
Military life wasn't for her and transferred to UMass Amherst to pursue nursing. So, although she had a lot of she looked like she had it all put together outwardly, track star, military, blah, blah, blah. She was facing some inside dilemmas.
Like
Struggles, yes. So, in late 2003, she was caught using a stolen credit card to order food. And I guess, they came to some agreement that if she stayed out of trouble for 3 years, they would just drop it. I'm so sorry. 3
Don't
months. 3 months.
Jeez, that's it?
Maybe she was getting into a bunch of trouble. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, although friends did say that normally she was responsible and driven, which made the fact that she did this a little uncharacteristic. So, now, obviously, as I said, because I called it the disappearance of Maura Murray, she does disappear. So, in the weeks before her disappearance, though, Maura's behavior was just suggesting that she was, going through some stuff.
Like erratic, impulsive.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So on Thursday, February 5th, 2004, while working at a campus security desk, she had what appeared to be an emotional breakdown.
Caught on camera.
Did I say that? No.
I'm asking. I'm asking.
This isn't America's Funniest Home Videos. It's just... I'm just telling you something.
Show me. All right. Sorry.
So her supervisor found Maura in what she called a distressed, quasi-catatonic state.
What?
That's what she says. Which I remember... So I was a big fan of General Hospital.
Were you?
Yes, and they used to love putting people into catatonic states.
Huh.
If you think about it, a very easy way to shut somebody up. Put them on ice for a while in a storyline.
Right.
Oh, Laura can't come to the phone right now. She's catatonic.
So this
Anyway.
shit went around like what the flu.
It was very common.
I was not aware of this.
Yeah.
Huh.
So anyway. I guess this catatonic. I guess this catatonic state happened after Maura had a phone call with her sister Kathleen, who was struggling with alcoholism.
The sister.
Yes. So the supervisor was saying that Maura was unresponsive and she just kept staring out the window. She wouldn't tell her anything except for 2 words. She just kept repeating over and over, my sister.
Oh.
So again, very uncharacteristic for Maura. But this was sort of like hinting around that something wasn't quite right. And something was going on that she was very worried about.
So with this... I'm calling the kits. So with this phone call, though, like, was there arguing?
I don't know.
Was there a fight or was there crying? Like, you're wiping your brow. I'm sorry to bother you. You know?
I do. I don't have much more information on the phone call itself.
Fine.
I don't know what her sister's number was. I don't know how long they were on the phone. I don't know if they had to talk to any operators before or after.
All right.
Thank you, though, for checking.
You're very welcome.
That weekend, Maura's father, Fred, came to Amherst to help her shop for a used car, and they were just going to spend time together, hang out. So on Sunday, February 7th, they reportedly did go car shopping. Although no dealership ever said, oh yeah, I saw them. But they say they went, or like he says they went. And then they dined with one of Maura's friends. So Fred had withdrawn $4,000 in cash.
For the car, probably.
Right. You got it. And he let Maura... So, like I said, they spent the day together. Then he lets Maura borrow his car for the evening. So he had a pretty new Toyota. So now early Sunday, around 3:30 in the morning, Maura crashes her father's car.
And I'm sorry, where is he that he came to see her up at school and then he let her take his car out all night? Like, where was he? Her room?
Well, I don't know if he was staying in a hotel or whatever.
Good call.
So yeah, I'm not sure where the father was staying, but she ends up crashing her car on a sharp curve in Hadley, Massachusetts. Apparently, it was a pretty bad crash because it was $8,000 to $10,000 worth in damage that she did to this new Toyota.
But not totaled, so that's good.
That is the bright side.
Right.
So she was not cited or tested for a DUI at that time, but the accident left her pretty shaken up. Now, have you ever been in a car accident? Like a legit car accident?
As a driver?
Yes.
I need to go knock on something quickly. No.
Okay.
Have you?
I think somebody backed into me. Hit me from behind once, very lightly.
That happened to me.
Right.
But we didn't have to call anybody.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's about the extent of it.
Were you in a bad one ever as a passenger?
No.
I was in several as a child.
Oh. Who was driving?
My mom, I believe it was 2 of them. Neither were
2 or 3.
Right. Neither were her fault. I can't remember.
I didn't think they would be.
Yeah. Good call, man. One was definitely a tractor trailer, but I feel like both actually were. One of them I was like stuck in the car and I was sleeping in my car seat. I slept through the whole jaws of life commotion.
That doesn't surprise me.
Right. I wish my sleeping patterns were still like that. Now I wake up every 5 freaking seconds.
Well, what can you do?
Right. And then my grandmother and I were in a very bad one. Well, we weren't hurt. Nobody was hurt in any of these. I was probably like 13-ish, I want to say, maybe a little bit younger.
Bet you were hell on wheels.
Like in general?
Yeah.
Getting there.
Yes, in general.
Getting there by that point. Still.
Yeah, I was warming up.
A little meek, right. It was cooking. It was cooking up, yeah. So I was probably like maybe 11.
I was marinating, yeah.
And we were like sitting in traffic and then a car like was flying up the road and rear-ended us. And I mean, I want to say 4 cars. We were like obviously the last one. Or no, I guess we were the first one. And then like several cars in front of us were also affected. So, yeah.
Okay.
It got totaled, though. All of these cars.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's very shaken up. So her dad later says, Maura was very upset. It still haunts me. I think she felt like she let me down. So, here we go. Maura did stay that night at her dad's motel room. So he was staying at a motel.
Oh, okay. But then why did she need to borrow his car? Where was she going?
No, I mean... She's in college, isn't she? For God's sake.
Well, right, but he's coming to visit her.
So they should be bonding at 3:30 a.m.?
Well, no, but, I mean, where is she frolicking off to in his car? I mean, don't you find that...
You were never out late in college.
I surely was.
I bet you surely were.
But I was not doing those things when family was visiting.
You weren't playing Freddy 40 Hands or whatever when your mom was there?
No, I was not. I held Bic.
You put on a farce.
Oh my God. I cleaned up my
This is
act
studious,
for
Talia.
the week.
You put on some glasses and a beret. All right.
And my duct tape with my bottle.
You were able to wipe yourself that weekend. All right, if you'll allow me.
I would love to, yes.
Back to this. She stayed at her father's motel room that night. At around 5 a.m. Sunday, a call was placed to Maura's father's phone to Maura's boyfriend. So a call...
So her dad called her boyfriend.
From Fred's phone to Maura's boyfriend. He was an Army lieutenant, and his name was Bill.
Billy's boy.
Right. In Oklahoma.
Oh, long distance relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Bill, when this was the night of that crash, he consoles Maura over the phone about the crash, though he sensed something more was bothering her, but that's
Who's
what they
say?
Right, exactly. That's what they talked about. So the next day, Fred finds out that insurance is going to just cover the wreck. Which, lovely. So he rents a car. He drops Maura off back at campus, if that's all right with you.
It is.
Went back to school. Okay, good.
Happy to hear it.
Just making sure.
Right.
And Fred heads home. So before leaving, they agree that they're going to talk again Monday night over the phone, and they're going to go over the insurance paperwork.
To yawn. I am still sitting.
I ask so little of her.
I'm alert.
Ay. You go. It's like, and I feel like this time it's like your adrenaline has been spent from you presenting, where you're sitting there sweating, shaking, drooling.
I was not drooling. How dare you? My eyes are.
You sounded
open.
like Winifred Sanderson for a second. But as soon as I start talking, I mean,
oh my God.
I might as well do a sleep meditation for you.
I yawned once. I am not sitting back. I'm not putting my head back. I'm not shutting my eyes.
It's the middle of the afternoon, everyone.
Correct. My eyes are big and opened.
All right. I'm just not even going to look up.
Good.
Great.
Fine.
Wonderful.
Great.
So they're going to go over insurance information Monday night. None of Maura's friends or family knew that by Monday evening, she would basically never be seen again. All right, so now we are on February 9th. This is the day where this stuff happens. On Monday morning, February 9th, 2004, it had just snowed in Amherst from a recent storm. Classes were canceled. What a wonderful feeling that must be.
I agree, which now that's not a thing, really, right? Because of like...
What are you saying?
Cyber, whatever you call it, like...
Cyber Monday?
Like having... I don't know, that kids can just remotely attend or something.
Well said.
So snow days are gone.
Snow days or no days, baby. So Maura began, I don't know, like, she started acting a little bit strange, right? So classes are canceled. She starts kind of putting this little, like, plan together. So now I said this is Monday, but just after midnight on Sunday night, she had, I guess her internet history had been, like, looked at and whatever. She had searched MapQuest. That's a blast from the past.
That, my first, well, no, not my first job out of college, my second, I guess, I was so heavily dependent on MapQuest. And it's insane to think about, like, you had to make sure you, like, printed everything out
Hell
before,
yes.
keep them all. Where else are you going? Do you have multiple stops? Did you get them all? Like, do it from this place to this place in the order that it's insane to now think of that.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So just after midnight, like that morning, I guess, is when she searches MapQuest for directions to two places. The first is the Berkshires in western Massachusetts, and then she also searches Burlington, Vermont.
Lovely area.
So it's unclear if she printed out these directions, but later evidence suggests that she was considering both of these destinations as a place she was trying to go.
Was she a skier?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So around 1 p.m. on Monday, Maura emailed her long-distance boyfriend, Bill, and said, a very nice but kind of detached message. And she told him that she doesn't feel like talking to anybody lately, and she just promised she'll call him later. So, all right. That would send me into a spiral. But fine. She also called a condo owner in Bartlett, New Hampshire, an area where her family had usually vacationed. And she was inquiring with him about renting a condo for an upcoming week, but she didn't actually make a reservation. So shortly after, now this is about 1:25-ish on Monday afternoon, Maura emails one of her UMass professors and her work supervisor, informing them that she had to take a week off due to a death in the family. I'm shocked you didn't go, well, did somebody die?
I was just going to say, but there was no death.
So yes, in reality, nobody had died. She was just trying to justify a sudden
absence
getaway, right? At 2:05, phone records show that Maura called a recorded hotline about booking hotels in Stowe, Vermont, which, I mean, she's all over the place.
Exactly. Not sticking to one area at all.
This lasted about 5 minutes on the phone. She then phones Bill, and she leaves him a voice message. Again, saying, I guess I missed you, but we'll talk later, whatever. So, clearly, Maura is making some weird preparations or plans, but nobody knows what the hell they are.
And no, credit card charges are going through. She is not actually booking anything,
no.
though. And okay.
So she doesn't tell any of her friends or family any of these. Now I'm yawning.
Uh-oh.
Thanks to you.
Yeah.
Hey-oh.
That Umbrella song is in my head. Who sings that? Rihanna.
So she doesn't tell any of her friends or family none of these specific plans. And according to investigators, there's no indication that she actually informed anyone of her destination or any evidence that she had even picked one. So now we're in the afternoon. Maura packs her 1996 black Saturn sedan.
Now, this is the new car that
I guess so.
Yeah.
And she packs it pretty thoroughly, right? She loads it up with clothing, toiletries, textbooks, her birth control pills, as if she's going on a long trip. So when the campus police later searched her dorm, they found most of her belongings neatly boxed up and the art removed from her walls as though she planned to leave school for good and not come back.
When you said that about the car being packed, I was thinking an extended trip or actually moving out, which the stuff off the walls, yeah, that's
right.
Unsettling, big time. And that it wasn't even the end of the year. We're not talking summer.
Right, because then that would be normal.
Yeah.
You got it. And it's weird because you're saying so she, it wasn't summer. She was just moving out. Righto.
I should kick you in
Rightio.
the ankles.
So, anyway, so yes, it was weird. Like Talia said, it was very weird.
In case you didn't catch that.
So on top of one of the boxes, there was a printed email to her boyfriend that hinted that there was trouble in their relationship.
Oh, shit.
So sometime between 3:15 and 3:30 p.m., Maura leaves campus and she hits the road. Before departing Amherst, she stops at an ATM and she withdraws $280 in cash, which was pretty much all the money she had. Security camera footage. Back in the 2000s? Yes. Security camera footage shows that she was alone at the ATM. She then stops at a nearby liquor store and she purchases about $40 worth of alcohol, including Bailey's Irish Cream, Kahlua, vodka, and a box of Franzia.
I was going to say...
That's a lot of stuff.
It is, but none of them are heavy hitters except the vodka.
All right, well.
Like, I just feel like those are softy things. Like, not, like she didn't go get oodles of tequila.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Or oodles of vodka. I don't know. But yes, I mean...
A box of Franzia, that could do some damage.
Yeah. And with the... Yeah.
Not the way you were boozing it up, I guess, in college. I assume.
But the... plethora, like you commented on, that she got, like,
well, for her
having a party,
right?
Exactly,
yes,
exactly. Good call. Something. I mean, there's definitely like an unhinging seeming to be going on.
Yes. So again, she's captured on surveillance there too, and she was by herself when she buys all these items.
Does she look okay?
She looked all right.
Yeah.
So at some point in the afternoon, Maura also picked up an accident report from the Registry of Motor Vehicles for her dad's insurance claim that they were going to have to work on, because they were supposed to talk that evening, if you recall.
I do.
So around 4:30 in the afternoon, she starts driving north. She checks her voicemail one last time. So the call, this call, like checking her voicemail, was the final recorded use of her cell phone. And after that, Maura just goes completely off the grid. Like
no pinging. Did they ping back then, phones? I guess.
I think they did, but
yeah,
she
but
was
no
off
pinging.
the grid.
Done.
Now we're in the evening. So it's believed that Maura drove north on Interstate 91 and then east into New Hampshire, heading toward the White Mountains.
Well, then I guess I was going to ask you, but I guess scratch this.
Great. So the sun sets early.
If she was supposed to go meet her dad, she obviously...
On the phone they were going to talk.
Oh, I thought this was going to be in person about the insurance and the car.
No, they were going to talk on the phone.
I was going to say, she's obviously not
Monday
driving
night.
to him. Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. The sun sets early that day.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Now, this area of New Hampshire that you're saying, this is one of the places that she called?
No.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
Well, unless this place was in the White Mountains. I don't freaking know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Sun setting.
Sun setting. It's a little bit after 7 p.m. You know, I love that dusk time when it's snowy out, though. And it has like that twilight look. It's not like a warm sunset. It's like a
Chilled.
something else.
I think it's sad. I think it has a sad
I
vibe.
love it. It's just, it's so peaceful and quiet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sounds nice.
Well, it wasn't nice this night. No. So Maura's Saturn that she's driving spins out of control on a sharp corner on Route 112 near the village of Woodsville in Haverhill, New Hampshire. So around 7:30, a local resident, Faith Westman, frantically calls 911 to report that a car had crashed into a snowbank by her house.
Don't you find it odd, which if this is because of the weather, fine, but like this girl's been in 2 car accidents in 2 days.
Well, I think she's probably frantic about something. or extremely distracted or something.
Yes.
So Faith said that the car was against the snowbank. It was facing the wrong way on the road after apparently hitting a tree. So in that initial call, she also reported seeing a person in the car, and this is strange. She comments that the person in the car, she says it looked like a man smoking a cigarette in the driver's seat. Now, I don't know.
I just got the chills. Bad.
Chillworthy.
Bad. Oh.
Now, her husband later said that he didn't see a man, and Faith herself would concede she might have just seen the glow of a cell phone light, which she mistook for a cigarette's embers.
But did the husband say, I didn't see a man smoking a cigarette, I saw a woman? Or did he say, I didn't see that it was a man smoking?
I just think he said he didn't see anybody, like what she's
describing.
Saying. Right.
Yeah, okay.
So Maura had worn her hair up for the night, so I guess from a distance she might have looked like she had short hair. Maybe she didn't obviously appear female at that moment. But whatever Faith saw, Maura was alive at the crash scene around, like I said, 7:30 p.m. 20 minutes later, police arrive. Maura is no longer there. Nobody ever sees Maura again.
You are kidding me.
No.
That's extremely unsettling.
I agree.
Is the door left open?
It's also a little bizarre that the people who called the police didn't go over to check on the person.
Or stay, or even keep their eyes on the situation from a distance. Nothing.
Your eyes would have been peeled at that window.
I would not have looked.
No, you wouldn't have gone. You would have gone out.
But I would have stared. I would have.
Your nose would have been flat up against that glass.
I wouldn't have gotten that close. I would have been scaredy. What if it was a trap?
Anyway, so this accident occurs, like I said, along this dark road, Route 112.
Would there have been footprints from snow?
Potentially.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So this road had woods on either side of it, and there were only a few homes nearby. So Maura's Saturn hits this tree at a tight right-hand turn and spun to a stop partly in the road, and its front end was pretty damaged. So hearing the impact, Faith, she looks out the window. She sees this car is not looking good. And within minutes, another neighbor, Butch Atwood, he was a school bus driver.
Ooh.
He happened upon the scene as he was driving home in his school bus. So he pulls over and he finds Maura alone next to the dented car. Because like I said, when I said nobody ever saw her after, like these things are happening simultaneously. You know, you've got the neighbor looking out the window calling the police, and now the school bus driver is like, it's not like this happened an hour after the neighbor. So this is all happening like in real time together.
Right. Okay.
So he pulls over. He finds her, like I said, standing out, in front of her car. The temperature was below freezing, and Maura was shivering. And she was just in a light coat. So Butch noted that she did not appear injured. He said there was no blood, nothing was broken. She was just cold and a little bit shaken up. So he offered to help and said he would call the police from his house. So I guess Maura pleaded with him not to call 911. She was already insisting that she had called AAA for roadside assistance. But Butch knew that this was unlikely true because cell reception in the mountain area was virtually non-existent. Okay. So, sensing Maura's anxiety, he wasn't like pressuring her or whatever. Like, I feel like he didn't want to spook her.
Right.
He's like, okay, all right. Something like that.
He does it.
But later he did say that she seemed upset. He said, he was like, I don't think she was intoxicated, but she did not seem like she was in a good place.
It makes me wonder, though, like, maybe you'll get to if all the liquor in her car, like, looked like she had begun with any of it. But it makes me wonder, even if she didn't appear intoxicated to him, why would you not want to call the police? Like, why would you have such a strong reaction to that? I mean, obviously she got into an accident. She had just gotten into an accident.
Right.
I'm sure it could just be that, I suppose. But I don't know.
And little does she know the police have already been called by the other lady.
Right, exactly.
So, but Butch is obviously concerned. So he drives 100 yards down the road to his house and he phones 911 by himself. Now, I have heard reports where he offered for her to come with him, but she didn't go. Which
I wouldn't have done that
I know,
shit. Oh my God.
I know.
I'd rather take my chances on the wild road. I'm not going back to Butchie boys.
He was trying to help
I
her.
absolutely
How dare you?
know that, yes. And he was a dear, sweet man, it seems, but you never know.
I agree. I know. It's a very, you don't know what to do at that
No.
point. So while on the phone, he could no longer see Maura's car from his house, but he did notice that several other cars had passed by on this road before the police arrived. So whoever those passing drivers were, none of them have ever come forward. So now we're back to Faith, who was the neighbor lady. Right. Well, not neighbor lady, but the lady in the neighborhood.
Witness.
Yes.
Right.
So her call had already been dispatched by the Haverhill police sergeant, Cecil Smith. So he gets dispatched at 7:30. So according to the official log, Cecil arrives at approximately 7:45. So not too long,
Right.
I would say.
Didn't take long
reasonable.
at all. Right.
But by that time, Maura is gone. So another kind of weird thing is another local resident driving home. Again, like this all happens very quickly. Again, around 7:37, she claims that she saw a police SUV already there. Thought you were going to say, I got the chills. Ahead of that official time that the other cop said he got there. And she said when she saw the police car, it was parked nose to nose with Maura's car, but nobody was around either vehicle.
Like in a car jumping, battery jumping setup.
Sure.
Right.
Right, but just nobody was there. So I guess this person says, look, I only stopped briefly. I didn't see anybody. I just continued on my way then. But this person's account completely contradicts the log of the other, policeman.
Then I got the chills.
All right. Then it's Chillworthy.
Right.
So whether this was a case of just timing confusion or whether it was an accurate sighting, like of a different vehicle, nobody knows. It's just a weird discrepancy. What is clear, though, is that by the time law enforcement and EMS did reach the location, Maura had vanished without a trace, basically in a span of minutes. It's as if she just stepped off the face of the earth in that short window, leaving her wrecked car behind on a snowy bank next to the road.
She wasn't even dressed properly for the weather based off of what Butch says. It makes me very nervous for her. And just surrounded by woods on each side. Mm-hmm. It's like a hostile environment for that season.
Yes. So investigators examined the Saturn and the immediate area. So the car was found locked. Its windshield was cracked on the driver's side. Both airbags had deployed and the impact had crumbled the front left headlight and pushed the engine's radiator into the fan. So the car was not drivable. Inside the Saturn, police discovered evidence that Maura had been drinking. There were red stains that looked and smelled like wine, including some splashed on the driver's side door and the ceiling, and an empty beer bottle on the seat.
She didn't even buy beer at the liquor store.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And for the wine to be sloshing about, whether she was driving and drinking or if she pulled over and was just drinking in the car, it's I'm getting such a vibe of desperation of sucking anything down she can. And that for it to make a mess like that, she just doesn't sound like she was in a good state at all. I wonder what it was that rocked her so badly.
I think we all do.
I thought you were going to say, I think we all know. I was going to say, well, I don't.
So a damaged cardboard box of Franzia wine was on the rear seat behind the driver's seat, and there was a Coke bottle that had contained a reddish liquid with a strong alcoholic odor, and that was also in the back seat, I guess. So it appeared that Maura might have mixed a cocktail for the road, I guess. Along with these, several personal items were found. So Maura's AAA card, the blank accident report that she picked up that she was going to go over with her dad later, maps/directions to, Burlington, Vermont. There were a pair of gloves, there were CDs, makeup, a diamond jewelry piece, and I guess Maura's favorite stuffed animal.
Oh.
There was also a book titled Not Without Peril about mountain adventures in the White Mountains, and that was found in the car as well. So, but strangely, there were some crucial items missing. For example, Maura's debit card was not there, or any of her credit cards, nor her cell phone could be found. And in the time since, none of them have ever been used again. So Maura's keys were gone too, and presumably, with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Police later noted that some kind of the alcohol that she brought, like certain bottles of liquor, were not in the car either anymore, implying that she may have taken them with her when she left the scene.
That just is, I don't know. Like, I guess if she's not in a great frame of mind, she's already been drinking. We don't know how intoxicated she was. It's odd to me that you would think, like, I'm assuming, well, really, where was she going to go, though? Because she wasn't, like, familiar with the area. I was going to say, are you all right?
Yeah.
I was going to say that she must have been trying to get to such and such, but there really was no such and such. Like, she didn't know what was going on and what was around there, but that you're thinking, the phone and the cards make sense to bring with you, but to not just leave the alcohol there is just odd to me. Like, you felt the need to take those, and like, how much could you possibly consume? You obviously, I would think, intend to go back to get this damaged car at some point. Why wouldn't you just leave the alcohol there? I don't know. That's odd to me.
So another odd discovery was that a dish towel or a rag had been stuffed into the Saturn's tailpipe. Maura's father would later explain that he had instructed her to put a rag in there to quiet a noisy exhaust issue. And I guess this is what the Saturn had happening, but that doesn't sound, I'm not a car person, but that doesn't sound right.
Safe at all. Yikes.
So nonetheless, the responding officers, found that this was pretty strange, and they were wondering if it was an attempt to sabotage the car or a sign of somebody else's involvement. At the crash site itself, there were no footprints visible in the fresh snow heading into the woods, and there were no obvious drops of blood or signs of a struggle on the road. The only confirmed sighting of Maura that evening were by the two neighbor people, the Westmans, and by Butch. So in total, Maura had about 7 to 10 minutes after the bus driver drove back to his house to either hide or to escape before police arrived. And in that brief span, she managed to just completely vanish. Investigators and locals, they poured over this, like they call it the critical 7-minute window, and they keep trying to imagine how a young woman could just disappear so quickly on this rural road. God, I hate when they describe a road like that. Rural road without footprints or whatever.
It doesn't make any sense.
So they did consider several scenarios, but it's like, so the first one, if Maura had simply just run into the woods to avoid the police because maybe she was scared she was going to get a DUI or whatever, it seems that she would have been pretty easy to track, but there was about 1.5 feet of snow on the ground with hard crust on top, as one searcher noted. So like maybe she didn't leave footprints.
But that's snow that you have to break through as you're walking. So there would be the holes, like...
That's what I'm saying. So if it was really a hard crust, I guess, depending on how heavy she was, she could have, but the...
Oh, as if she walked across it?
Right.
Geez.
But the searchers were saying, like, I don't think that that's really possible. He said, if you or I were to walk off this road and into the snow, we would very easily sink into it. So, but like I said, there were no footprints found leading into the forest. So, and the snow hadn't melted or been obscured by new snowfall in that time. Like, it wasn't snowing at that point. So they concluded that Maura did not run off into the wilderness, at least not within the immediate vicinity of the crash. Like maybe she got onto the road and then ran off somewhere else. So they did use tracking dogs. A tracking dog later picks up Maura's scent from one of the gloves, and it followed it east along the road for about 100 yards, then abruptly just loses the trail. So,
well, if a car picked her up.
Right.
So then she didn't go into the woods, and she actually... But then how did nobody see her? I guess it's possible.
So, you know, like you said, for the scent to just stop like that, it obviously suggests that she got into a vehicle. We don't know if it was willingly or not, but that she got into a vehicle and left the scene.
I didn't think of that.
And Butch did say the cars were passing.
Exactly.
Precisely. So if she was out on the road walking and shivering and probably holding herself, you know, because of how cold she was, I mean, she would probably, whether it was a good Samaritan or not, she probably seemed like somebody who needed help.
Right. Well, and that also then scares me, though, how you said of those cars who passed that he saw and how no one came forward as ever seeing her makes me worry that one of them did get her and then things did not go well.
Right. So despite the lack of immediate clues, one possible sighting of Maura trickled in much later. A contractor driving home that night between 8 and 8:30, so an hour basically after after the police were called, claimed that about 4 to 5 miles east of the crash site, he said he saw a young person moving quickly on foot along Route 112. She was headed eastbound. He noticed the person was wearing jeans, a dark coat, and a light-colored hood, and this is attire that could have matched what Maura had on. However, the witness did not report what he saw at that time. He told people 3 months later.
Oh my gosh.
After reviewing his work logs and the news of Maura's case, he realized that this happened like the same night she disappeared, around the same time, around the same road.
Right.
So I guess let's not be too hard on the contractor man.
He didn't connect it. It makes sense. Like, you don't know you're seeing something that's not good.
Right. So if that was her, it means that she somehow covered several miles on foot, or maybe she did hitchhike a little bit, but without any corroboration, and considering how swiftly the official search teams started, the sighting is it still remains unconfirmed whether it was her at all. So it's just another, like, weird thing to add to the mystery surrounding this. So this will shock you. Law enforcement's handling of the case in the first 48 hours has been a subject of a lot of scrutiny.
Horrendous, right.
So when Haverhill police traced the abandoned car to Maura Murray, they initially treated her disappearance as a missing person case with a possible voluntary angle.
Absolutely. Sometimes people just want to leave.
She wanted to start again.
With her Kahlua, it's not funny.
No, it isn't funny. So in other words, they entertained the idea that Maura just ran off on purpose. She just wanted to disappear. This early theory arose because of the weird steps that Maura had taken that day, like calling all those different places and whatever.
With the travel plans and stuff, yeah. But I'm not thinking she wanted to start again. I'm thinking she wanted to go on a trip, and the vibe I have is that she was trying to get away from something for sure. Not like someone was scaring her, she wanted to flee, but like something, was brought to her attention that was awful. If, like you had mentioned, there was trouble with her and Bill, if something distasteful was brought to her attention, maybe it's like, I got to get the hell out of here. I need a break. I need to get away. I need to, change of scenery. Not starting again, especially at her age, especially in the middle of the school year in college. Like, I don't know about this.
So later in the week, investigators publicly stated that they believed Maura did leave Amherst intending not to return, basically because of the stuff that they found in the dorm room and how it was kind of taken down and whatever.
Right.
And they said that maybe she accepted a ride from somebody after the crash, and then she just continued on her way from there. In a press release about a month later, authorities said that they had found no evidence of a crime, and they even dismissed speculation of any serial killer that might have been involved.
Good point.
So to them, at least early on, it seemed Maura's case was that of a basically despondent or determined young woman who chose to vanish on her own.
Yeah.
So, with that mindset, the urgency and scope of the initial search probably wasn't what it should have been.
slipped through the cracks.
Right. I feel like we should always think of that as the last resort, and people think of it as the first.
It's so awful.
So on the night of February 9th, after finding the car, officers and the canine unit, they do a brief search of the immediate area. A state trooper and the bus driver, Butch, they drive up and down the local roads, search for Maura, no avail. There was no organized ground search that was even conducted that night. The next morning, the police issued a BOLO, which is be on the lookout.
Fascinating.
For Maura, and finally labeled her as officially missing around noon, 24 hours after she was last seen. New Hampshire Fish and Game officials were briefed and told that if Maura hadn't turned up by the following day, they would initiate a search. So Maura's father, Fred, he hadn't even been notified yet. A message about her car being found was left on his home answering machine Tuesday afternoon. But Fred was out of state for work. It wasn't until one of Maura's sisters reached him in the evening of the 10th that he learned his daughter was missing. So, of course, Fred races to New Hampshire overnight. So by Wednesday now, which is 36 hours after the crash, a full-scale search finally ramps up. Because now somebody's actually there who's, like, pressing them.
Right. With this huge chunk of time that's gone by with, I'm sure, priceless clues that would have been so helpful.
So state troopers, fish and game personnel, tracking dogs, helicopters with thermal imaging, they were all deployed on February 11th in a coordinated effort. A tracking dog was given Maura's glove and confirmed what the initial little canine helper had said. The dog followed the scent along the road about 100 yards and then just stopped cold, indicating that she likely got into a vehicle at that point or beamed up.
Absolutely.
You know, after we heard about your Pascalusa,
the fellows,
Patagonia thing.
Patagonia. Anything is possible.
Of course. No footprints, no straps of clothing, no clues were found in the snow or the surrounding wilderness. So by nightfall on February 11th, authorities were publicly leaning towards the theory that Maura had either run off to avoid trouble or perhaps harmed herself in the woods. By nightfall on February 11th, authorities were publicly leaning towards the theory that Maura had either run off to avoid trouble or maybe she just harmed herself in the woods, despite her family's strong belief that there was something else to blame. So, in hindsight, there were some missed opportunities and some questionable decisions made during early response. So critics noted that the police did not immediately treat Maura's car as a potential crime scene. Why would they?
Unbelievable. Especially not knowing. Nobody saw her leave it. Nobody saw... It's absolutely inexcusable to me.
So the Saturn was towed from the accident that night of February 9th. But instead of being impounded at a secure facility, it was taken to the private home of a towing company operator and left in his garage for several days. So this means that any forensic evidence on or in the car could have been compromised or delayed. Mm-hmm. So her father, arriving that week, was surprised to discover that the car was stored in this tow guy's a personal garage, and could not believe that he was only seeing it for himself that Friday. Additionally, when a nearby house just down the road from the crash was searched, because I guess they were searching nearby homes, days later, there was a suspicious-looking trail in the snow.
Like pulling a body.
Well, I don't know, but it was suspicious. The items taken for testing, because like they took some carpet samples and stuff, those items that they took, they sat untested for an extended period.
Why?
According to one account, certain DNA evidence that was in the house, hold on to your nips, was not analyzed for 2 years.
What?
Right. Which was very frustrating for the Murray family. Yeah.
It's so shameful. It is.
I don't even understand. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But I never will.
No, and the frequency that we hear details like that, this in stories, just makes me sick. These poor families.
So, from the start of this, her dad felt that there was a strong possibility of foul play, and that this strong possibility was not taken seriously at all. He had pointed out that authorities seemed more inclined to write Maura off as an irresponsible runaway or just some suicidal girl than to lock down the area and interview neighbors aggressively in those first crucial hours. Well, that's correct, sir.
Oh, yeah, I agree with him completely.
So, on that depressing note, I noticed that we have hit about an hour and we've still got pretty much to talk about.
All right.
So what I think we'll do is make this a two-parter, and when we reconvene, we will talk about the theories, the speculations, and the aftermath of what happened that night.
I was going to say awful. Sounds awesome.
Well, if you say so.
This whole
as
thing
long
is
as that's
awful.
all right with you. All right, so everybody, on that note, we look forward to seeing you again.
We always do.
There you go. And until then,
stay safe.
And stay chill.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you all. You've just listened to Chillworthy. Thank you for joining us on this latest episode. While we strive to keep our discussions engaging and lighthearted, we also wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the real lives and events that are at the heart of these stories.
We try to approach each topic with a sense of curiosity and respect, fully aware of the impact these events have had on the individuals and their loved ones. Our goal is to honor their memories by keeping their stories alive and shedding light on the mysteries that surround them.
If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, rate, and leave a review, and don't forget to join us on the next episode of Chillworthy.